we have to play the final game, and we have to, take care of it. And they're going to be a good football team. Now, some other team could help us along the way, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to us versus them, and we're excited to have them at home. It's going to be, a really good environment. It's going to be a great atmosphere, and honestly, it's playoff time. It's playoff atmosphere.
Nobody in the AFC wants to admit it yet, but the truth is getting loud. The Denver Broncos are no longer rebuilding, experimenting, or a year away. As sources say, Denver has crossed into the danger zone, the place where teams stop being cute stories and start becoming real postseason problems. And at the center of it all is Bo Nix, peaking earlier and harder than anyone expected. What makes this scary isn't just wins, it's how controlled the wins look. Denver isn't surviving games anymore, they're dictating them. The offense moves with purpose. The defense understands leverage. Special teams flips field position. That's not luck, that's structure. As sources say, internal league chatter has shifted from "can they compete" to "who actually wants to face them in January."
You know how great the defense is in Denver. They can rush the passer, all those type of things. But Bo Nix, it's like a being on a roller coaster. You're going to get some great moments from Bo Nix. You're also going to get some moments, the head-scratching moments from Bo Nix. I think if he's more consistent, then I can absolutely say yes. But until then, I'm still a big question mark on Denver.
Bo Nix has unlocked something critical: efficiency without fear. He's not playing reckless hero ball, but he's also not checking down out of panic. He's taking what defenses give, then punishing them when they get greedy. That balance is what turns quarterbacks into long-term nightmares. AFC defenses thrive on confusing young passers, but Nix has been shredding disguised coverages and killing blitzes with timing throws. Denver's offensive rhythm looks surgical. The run game forces honest boxes. Play action freezes linebackers. Receivers are hitting landmarks on time. As sources say, opposing coordinators are frustrated because there's no obvious weakness to attack. You can't overload pressure, you can't sit in zone, you can't man up across the board. That's when panic sets in, and it's not just film room hype. Veteran defenders around the league are privately admitting that Denver feels annoying to play against, the worst compliment in football.
If they win by a touchdown, are you unimpressed? You go on the road, division rival, you win, you take it. Kansas City said, "We're not giving you anything over the top." They didn't. And for the record, in the first game between these two, Bo Nix made a huge 3rd and 15 conversion, game-winning drive. Last night, 3rd and 10, huge conversion, game-winning drive.
They don't beat themselves. They don't rush decisions. They don't crumble late. That's playoff DNA forming in real time. This team wasn't supposed to be here yet. That's the scariest part. Denver didn't peak by accident. They peaked because everything finally aligned. And once alignment hits in the NFL, the rest of the conference has a problem. The AFC isn't scared of hype quarterbacks. It's scared of quarterbacks who understand systems. And Bo Nix understands his system cold. As sources say, Denver's staff simplified early reads early in the season, then gradually unlocked the full playbook.
Denver's not good, but this is not figure skating. It's football. I don't need style points. They were great on 3rd down. They dominate time of possession. RJ Harvey delivers. So is Bo Nix. Basically, Kansas City said, "We're not giving you anything over the top. We're going to make it long, slow, boring drives." And that's what they did. Sean Payton knows what he's doing. A lot of guys, a lot of GMs didn't like Bo Nix. Sean Payton loved him. He's now 23-10 as a pro. Playoffs both years. First quarterback ever, league history ever. 10-plus wins, 30-plus total touchdowns, first 2 years in the league.
Now defenses are dealing with the finished version. Nix's processing speed has jumped. His footwork is tighter. His release is cleaner. Most importantly, his decision-making under pressure has stabilized. That's the sign teams look for when deciding if a quarterback can win in January. Panic disappears. Structure remains. The biggest leap? Pre-snap command. Nix is identifying coverage shells, sliding protection, and calling out blitz indicators like a veteran. That's not normal growth. That's accelerated mastery. AFC coordinators know what that means. It means disguises don't work. Late rotations don't work. Mind games don't work. And then there's the deep ball. Early critics said Nix couldn't threaten vertically at the NFL level. Those critics are quiet now. As sources say, Denver deliberately waited until defenses got comfortable creeping safeties down. Once they did, the offense started dropping explosives at brutal moments. What separates Nix from flash-in-the-pan quarterbacks is patience. He doesn't force highlights. He forces defenses to make mistakes first. That's how postseason quarterbacks survive. That's how dynasties start quietly. The locker room feels it too. Teammates trust him. Receivers finish routes because they expect the ball. Linemen strain longer because they believe in the plan. Trust compounds fast when wins follow. This isn't about one hot stretch. It's about consistency showing up earlier than expected. The AFC knows what happens when a young quarterback stops looking young. The window opens wide, and sometimes it never closes again. Here's the part nobody wants to talk about. The AFC hierarchy is fragile right now. Old giants are wobbling, new challengers are unproven, and Denver is slipping through the cracks at the worst possible time. As sources say, playoff seeding conversations already include Denver as the team nobody wants. That label doesn't go to pretenders. It goes to disciplined teams with momentum and belief. Denver's defense deserves real credit. They don't chase stats, they choke space, they tackle clean, they force long drives and wait for mistakes. That style breaks quarterbacks late in games, especially in cold weather. Combine that with an offense that protects the ball, and suddenly Denver controls tempo without dominating possession. This team also travels well. That matters in January. They don't rely on crowd energy. They rely on execution. That's how road upsets happen. As sources say, front offices around the AFC are quietly reevaluating Denver's trajectory. The scary realization: this roster isn't maxed out yet. Cap flexibility remains. Young contributors are still ascending. The core hasn't peaked. The AFC doesn't fear rebuilds. It fears teams that skip steps. Denver skipped steps, and now the conference has to deal with it. Most teams peak and fade. Denver feels like it's just entering the dangerous phase. As sources say, the Broncos haven't even leaned fully into matchup exploitation yet. That means there's another gear coming. Bo Nix's comfort level keeps expanding. The offense keeps layering concepts. The defense keeps disguising intent. That combination usually arrives in year 3 or 4, not this fast. What makes this feel real is how boring the mistakes have become. Penalties are down. Turnovers are controlled. Situational football is sharp. Boring football wins championships. Denver isn't screaming for attention. They're stacking results, and in the NFL, quiet confidence is lethal. The truth is out now. The AFC can't pretend Denver is a fluke anymore. As sources say, defensive coordinators are spending extra hours on Broncos film, not because it's flashy, but because it's precise. Bo Nix didn't arrive as a savior. He arrived as a stabilizer. And stabilizers turn into closers when the lights get bright. The Broncos are no longer a feel-good story. They're a Super Bowl weapon, and the AFC knows it. The quiet panic around the league isn't coming from fans. It's coming from defensive coordinators. As sources say, the hardest quarterbacks to deal with aren't the loud ones or the flashy ones, but the ones who erase your playbook. Bo Nix is doing exactly that. Every week, defenses show him a different look, and every week he adjusts faster than expected. That's when film sessions get uncomfortable. What's driving coordinators crazy is how Nix handles pre-snap chaos. He doesn't just read the defense, he forces it to reveal itself. Motion before the snap, quick cadence changes, subtle shifts in protection calls. These things expose blitz intent. As sources claim, Denver has noticed that defenses hesitate more against Nix than they did earlier in the season. That half second of doubt is deadly at the NFL level. Once the ball is snapped, Nix isn't locking onto one target. He's working progressions clean, calmly, and with confidence. Safeties can't cheat, linebackers can't drift, corners can't squat. Every defender has to play honest football, and that's exhausting over 4 quarters. This is why Denver keeps winning late. The opponent breaks first. Another problem for defenses is Nix's refusal to make the hero mistake. He'll throw it away without shame. He'll take a short gain instead of forcing a deep ball. As sources say, defensive players are frustrated because the bait doesn't work anymore. You can't trick him into throwing interceptions. You have to earn stops. Then there's his mobility. Nix isn't scrambling wildly, but he moves just enough to reset plays. Edge rushers lose angles. Contain breaks down. Coverage rules stretch. That alone turns solid defensive calls into busted ones. The most dangerous part? Nix is improving week to week. The tape from early season looks nothing like the tape now. Mistakes that existed in September are gone. Timing routes are sharper. Pocket movement is cleaner. Red zone decisions are ruthless. As sources claim, some AFC teams are already adjusting playoff plans around Denver's offense. Not because it's flashy, but because it's reliable. Reliable offenses travel. Reliable quarterbacks survive cold games. Reliable decision-making wins championships. Bo Nix isn't beating defenses with tricks anymore. He's beating them with discipline. And that's why the league is officially uncomfortable. Here's what separates Denver from hype teams. The roster was built to last, not trend. As sources say, the Broncos don't rely on one superstar to carry them. They rely on layers, depth, versatility, and role clarity. That's how postseason teams are built. The offensive line doesn't chase highlights, they chase leverage, they win ugly reps, they hold pockets just long enough. That's all Bo Nix needs. As sources claim, Denver's linemen communicate better than most young units, especially against late blitzes. That chemistry keeps drives alive when momentum matters. The skill positions are equally balanced. There's no panic if one player gets taken away, someone else steps up. Routes are run with purpose. Blocking effort stays high. That matters more than raw talent when games slow down. On defense, Denver plays a brand of football that ages well in the playoffs. They don't gamble recklessly. They don't sell out for sacks. They force offenses to execute repeatedly, and most offenses can't. Missed assignments pile up. Frustration sets in. As sources say, Denver's tackling efficiency is one of the most underrated reasons for their success. Missed tackles flip playoff games. Denver limits those mistakes. They swarm. They finish plays. They make offenses earn every inch. Another edge, coaching discipline. Timeouts aren't wasted. Challenges are calculated. Situational calls show preparation. That's not flashy, but it's lethal in tight games. The Broncos rarely look confused, and confusion is how seasons end early. Special teams also quietly tilt games. Field position swings add pressure to opponents. Long drives become harder. One mistake becomes magnified. Denver understands that hidden yardage decides playoff outcomes. As sources claim, several AFC teams are far more talented on paper. But paper doesn't play in January. Structure does. Trust does. Consistency does. Denver checks those boxes. This roster doesn't scream dominance, it whispers control. And in the NFL, control wins more games than hype ever will. Every NFL team fears one thing, a contender realizing it's ready earlier than expected. That's exactly what's happening in Denver. As sources say, the Broncos weren't supposed to threaten the conference this soon, and that's why nobody stopped them from building momentum. Bo Nix's confidence has reached the tipping point. He's no longer trying to prove himself, he's commanding games. That shift is massive. Quarterbacks who stop playing for approval start playing for outcomes. That's when defenses feel pressure before kickoff. The locker room believes now. Belief changes behavior. Effort increases. Focus sharpens. Accountability tightens. As sources claim, veteran leaders in Denver see this as a real run, not a learning year. The AFC playoff picture is crowded, but Denver doesn't care about rankings. They care about matchups, and that's what scares teams. The Broncos don't fear anyone, and they don't underestimate anyone either. What makes this dangerous is sustainability. This isn't a one-year push. Cap flexibility remains. Young players are ascending. Bo Nix is still developing. That means the window isn't cracking, it's widening. As sources say, the AFC missed its chance to slow Denver down early. Now the Broncos have rhythm, confidence, and clarity. That combination rarely collapses on its own. The league didn't plan for this version of Denver, and now it has to react in real time. That's why the Broncos aren't just contenders anymore. They're a problem, and the AFC feels it every Sunday. If this breakdown made sense, make sure to like and subscribe so these deep dives keep coming.